Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. In 2006, Patek Philippe launched the 5960 Flyback Chronograph annual calendar, and what we have right here is the gem set variant. That is called the 5961R, and this is the -010 variant. So rose gold gem set, 40.5 millimeters in diameter. It's 13.7 millimeters thick, 49.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it has a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throwing it on the wrist, you can see compared to the later 5905, it's a much more compact watch. It's got a lot of presence though, with rose gold black dial and gem set dial and bezel. This is not a timepiece designed for anonymity. This is going to be a watch for someone who wants a little bit more of an extroverted Patek Philippe dress complication. The timepiece has nicely tapered lugs, which is why I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference, but much smaller than that, you're probably going to want to go with a different Patek annual calendar. That said, with a multiple step case flank, you can see from the case to the bezel up to the sapphire, and a sub 14 millimeter thickness, it will slide underneath most cuffs. Taking a quick look at the strap, you can see large rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss black, a little bit of bolstering to give it volume, so some stuffing internally. Monotone black stitch, we have a folded edge and then calfskin on the bottom, and you can see that it's a brand new Patek Philippe factory strap. You can also appreciate that these days Patek factory straps come with little pull tabs, so you pull the tab, the strap pops right off, easy to strap swap. No detail overlooked. Here we have a single fold rose gold deployant clasp to protect against dropping your watch. That's what a deployant does for you. And we have the calatrava cross surrounded by invisibly set baguette style gems. So you may ask, what's invisible setting? Well, if you look at the bezel, you can see well that in contrast to these brilliant cut gems on the dial, those have 4 little pincers on each corner holding the gem in place. And the same is true for the baguettes, but you can see that the baguettes in the bezel have an inner bezel and an outer bezel. There are no little brackets alongside the gems. They're actually lined up end to end with no gaps. That's called invisible settings. There are no little gold pincers visible. The same thing is rendered on the buckle itself. Lovely, beautiful gems with matching color and clarity and carats. The 3 C's so that there's no gradient or difference from gem to gem all the way around. Rose gold case, pump style pushers, calatrava cross on the crown, the bezel hovering over the 3 pusher correctors that are used to adjust the annual calendar. So we've got a lot going on here. We have an aperture style annual calendar, and on this variant of the 5960, it is the 5961R, you can see that we have black discs to match the dials. There's no jarring break between the color of the dial and the color of the calendar. The day, the date, and the month, a very American format, sometimes known as an American calendar. There's a little faceted frame for the date in the center. You can see that little frame is both polished and satinated. And we do have lume. We'll take a quick look at the lume right here. Both indices and hands. Now, the hands at center are leaf style. They're made of rose gold. We have a mono counter or a bullseye down at 6 o'clock. And you can see it has coaxial hours and minutes to make the best use of the space on the dial and avoid cluttering the dial. There are little rose gold chapterings surrounding the inner hour display and the hour minute display. And then there's a little white hole at the bottom. That will turn dark as you roll. Let's stop the chronograph for a second. Pay attention to that little hole down there. It will turn dark as you roll from day to night. You can see how it's starting to change from white to blue. Well, that's there to let you know that when that thing turns full blue and dark, you don't use these pusher correctors. It's a 24-hour indicator that lets you know when the watch is in the danger zone, when you should not be manually clicking the correctors for the calendars. The best thing to do when setting calendars is just to roll the watch through midnight, advance to 6:30 a.m., set the calendar, and then set the time. Now, back to the chronograph. It is a flyback chronograph. Reset and restart with a single push of the trigger. Great for timing events that occur in rapid succession. Also important to note, being an annual calendar, you only have to make 1 correction a year during the jump from February to March each year, 1 annual correction. Patek Philippe invented the annual calendar and first introduced it on the 5035 in 1996. We have a little power reserve indicator. and the maximum power reserve of this watch is 55 hours. The timepiece does not feature any full-time running seconds indication on the dial, but thanks to the vertical clutch chronograph, not only is there no jump or extraneous motion of the seconds hand when you start the watch, but you can leave the chronograph running full-time if you just want to have some life on the dial, and the chrono running full-time thanks to the vertical clutch will not wear down the movement. Now, it does have a very crisp action, and that is thanks to the column wheel. Bit of an unconventional column wheel structure here, but this watch is a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph, and that's a very favorable modern arrangement for smoothness of engagement, continuous operation if you please, and thanks to the column wheel, crisp traditional feel. Unidirectional winding, this movement has ceramic rotor bearings for high efficiency, limited maintenance requirements. It has a Patek Philippe free-sprung Gyromax style balance adjusted in 6 positions. When you combine the promise of the Patek Philippe seal with the 6-position adjustment, the Gyromax balance, and the anti-magnetic Spiromax silicone hairspring, Patek guarantees that this watch will run no worse than -3 plus 2 seconds per day. It beats away at 8 beats per second, or 28,800 vibrations per hour. This is caliber 28520, pivots on 40 jewels, and as you can see, it is quite handsomely decorated. We have Côte de Genève, engine turn perlage, satinated wheels, black polished screws, mirrored anglage, and if you take a quick look, you can actually see several different sizes of engine turning on the movement. Large engine turning, or perlage on the base plate, and then a smaller perlage on the center of the rotor. So there's a lot of nuance to take in here. You can even see how the steel components of the chronograph have been satinated across their top and then mirror beveled on their side. It's very impressive, technically and aesthetically, and all of this is 30 meters water resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.